being a pre-op trans woman, or as the title says, being a chick with the, I wanted the most clickbaity title possible. But welcome back, dolls. Today I'm going to talk about my experience as a pre-op trans woman and how it affects my life. It actually affects my life in a lot of ways, not yet having had the surgery. I have the surgery. It was planned to be in April, but I found out that my electrolysis providers have probably been like missing the most important area for surgery, so we might need to postpone it like another year, which is probably what like motivated me to think of this video. But yeah, so I'm just gonna get into like the nitty-gritty of it all. I think the biggest place that it comes up is in dating and relationships. Obviously, like with partners, you know, not everyone knows I'm trans, like right off the bat. So obviously that's a discussion I need to have with anybody who I might date. And even if they know I'm trans, they don't necessarily know what like I have going on down there, you know? So it's a discussion I always need to bring up, and it's one I'm sensitive about because, you know, there's like many reactions that I get. But of course, I'm not gonna like, you know, we're not gonna get to sex and I'm just gonna be like, surprise, motherfucker. Bear in mind, I'm extremely sleep deprived, so yeah, don't hold me accountable for my words and actions on this stream. But yeah, I think it's definitely something that surprises some partners, you know. For the most part, I think people know what they're getting into. Like they know it's gonna be different from like a typical male dick when it's there, and like most of the people who I'm attracted to tend to be bisexual or tend to be women who are more open-minded than men are. So it really depends. You know, recently I had a situation where I was at this party and I was gonna hook up with this guy, and then, you know, we were making out and I was like, oh, by the way, I'm trans. And, you know, he was like, oh, I'm sorry, that's just not something I'm attracted to. And then he took like a 10-second pause and he was like, wait, are you pre-op or post-op? You know, so obviously to men and to, you know, to some men and men who only like pussy, it's definitely like, it can be a deal breaker. I've had some crazy interactions where once early in transition, I brought this guy over to hook up with him, and then when he saw it, he started freaking out and just going, I'm not gonna hurt you, I'm not gonna hurt you. And like, you know, he wouldn't be saying I'm not gonna hurt you unless he was thinking about hurting me. But yeah, I think sexually though, it definitely changes like the dynamic a little bit. Not so much with men, because with men, you know, of course I'm a bottom. But I think with women, and with women who know what I have, sometimes there's like a certain assumption, mostly based off porn, with men too. But there's an assumption based off porn that it's gonna be like, you know, I'm gonna have like this like, oh my gosh, this porn star hog, which I think is an assumption that gets put on a lot of trans women, because like a lot of people's only experience with trans women is watching them on like Pornhub and the internet, which is really difficult. I think even in media representation, it's extremely pornographic. Like, I don't know, I think the most, like the best recent example, I think, is like Euphoria, where they make a big deal about that one part. Like, so much of the trans discussion has to do with what we have down below. But yeah, I don't know, one thing that it does, like one difference it does make is I always have to tuck, and so it makes it harder to wear like skin tight clothing or really tight stuff. Sometimes I'll have to use these actual tucking tape strips. It's called Tuck It Up, and it's like this special apply or like thing you can use to tuck. So that's kind of neat. But yeah. It's definitely something I have to think about. If you don't know what tucking is, it's basically where your balls like go back inside you and then everything just gets like taped down. That way it's invisible. But yeah, I don't know. I think other than that, it doesn't affect me much being pre-op. Obviously, like mentally, you know, I'm not big into like anal. I think it's kind of gross and I can't wait to have like a vagina. But yeah, I feel like I low-key just rambled in this video, but I'm trying to do a video a day, and I'm also working my butt off because I'm in the middle of getting a new apartment. But if you enjoyed this video and want to see some of my other content where I'm more well rested, subscribe, definitely like, and just add a comment, you know, say whatever. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!